Welcome back to the final edition of Power Hour. Wow, I saved the best
Yeah.
for last.
Something.
We've had Ryan Clark. We've had most recently Bomani Jones. We had Chris Long. It's been a murderer's row of takers, but I do think we have the most kind of the big bad taker. I
Oh
will say
yeah,
that, of
that's right.
those
End
yeah.
boss of the takes game is on now. I also, a couple things, not to hijack your pod. First of all, if people see me drinking, it's because I am, because I don't have many rules in life. But one of them is any media that I do after the
Love
TV
it.
show, I drink during. It's and so that could make this better or worse. Also, when Mina invited me on and said, "Do you want to do a power hour?" My exact text was yes, and then the follow-up was, does that mean drinking? I didn't know what we were doing. And I would also like to set the record straight on something, because evidently one of my bosses said to me in passing in a conversation, like, so what's the deal with you and Mina Kimes? And I'm like, okay, I guess I have to break kayfabe here a bit. The rivalry with Mina is fake. I adore Mina. I do consider her a friendly rival because I measure my success against others because I'm broken inside. But I actually really like Mina. Very unlike my rivalry with Pablo Torre, which is very real and someone who I hope fails. But good to see you, Mina.
It's distressing to me that people can't tell that. I think it's like how
People
people
are legit confused by it.
we also have many friendly interactions, and you've been on my show. I don't know why anybody would
I
think
know.
otherwise.
That's the other thing is like
Yeah,
I've always,
curious.
but whatever. It's
Fair.
fine. Maybe I should have just kept it going. But good to see you. And I'm very, some of these rankings have been very bad. I'm just going to be honest. The podcast is good. The rankings, some of them have been bad.
Yeah, Bo, who's your friend?
My dear friend.
You might say disrespected the team you hold near and dear to your heart. We're going to start there. As a reminder to folks, the way this works is we are ranking the entire NFL using a system that I came up with. I should patent it because it's great for content, right? Like I'm surprised this hasn't been stolen more often. I pick two teams, you pick one. This is also how me and my husband order at restaurants, where when we're like deciding what to share, I'll say, here are two things I'm interested. You choose between them. Use it for everything. Honestly, it's a great system of compromise.
Well, it's also, it is I'm sure you and your husband have a lot of very unique, wonderful things about your relationship. What is not unique is the wife being like, here are the two things I kind of want. So why don't you order one? That way, if I don't like what I actually get, we just trade. And then the guy's like, okay, I guess I'll just eat whatever is the worst of the two dishes tonight. But that's fine. It is good. I like it. I like the only flaw in it is, what if there's a team that I think is going to be awesome that you think is going to be bad? I have to rank them low.
You have to wait. Yeah. So this is good though, because it's a good way to defer responsibility. Like somebody tried to give me, they were like, you ranked the it wasn't the Eagles. I can't remember what team it was, maybe the Dolphins low. And I said, I didn't rank the Dolphins low. Anything. So if anybody gives you grief, you can just say, Mina Kimes created list. We're going to start. I'm going to bring back the Chiefs to the top. Yeah. We're going to do the two teams in the Super Bowl. I don't think I've done this once without having the Eagles as an option.
No, of course. The Eagles have earned the benefit of the doubt. They've been to one of the last one Super Bowls. The Chiefs, it's very kind of you to put them in there, going to 5 of the last 6. However, with that said, the Eagles deserve the top spot right now.
Ooh, wow.
Fair is fair.
Not a homer.
No, fair is fair. They now listen, I think the Chiefs got better in the offseason. And I think most notably because they're not going to have, you would anticipate they wouldn't have the most injured group of skill position players of any team in the league. And I also think Josh Simmons might end up being as impactful as a rookie of anyone in the entire rookie class. So, and the Eagles, as when teams win Super Bowls, this happens, they had a lot of free agency losses, right? With all that said, they just played and the Eagles kicked the Chiefs. And so until the season officially begins and we turn the page, the Eagles, if you are the defending Super Bowl champion and it didn't feel fluky and your quarterback didn't retire, your coach didn't retire, you deserve to go into the next season atop. So I will have the Eagles atop because they have earned it. And so, yeah, that to me is not controversial. The things that were said after the very top ranking is where I take issue with basically all of your guests.
Clip that one off. Nick Wright, the Eagles are better than the Chiefs, editing.
Well, I didn't say that. I said they deserve the number
I
one
am
spot
aggregating
in.
you on my
Okay,
own
yeah, that's
podcast.
fine.
You're being
That's good.
aggregated.
No problem.
Okay. Eagles fans, by the way, surprisingly surly for a fan base that just won the Super
So,
Bowl.
can I tell you a quick story? I
No,
know we have 32 teams to go through,
we'll
but
go quickly. Yeah, we'll go.
I'll tell a quick story. So shortly after, so I go to Philly a lot because I gamble there. There's good poker there. There's legal casinos. My wife likes to play blackjack, and so I don't know, once, twice a month we'll drive down to Philly. And we went shortly after the Super Bowl, and I was like, "Oh boy, this one's gonna be tough for me." And so I was like, I just have a plan, which is as soon as anyone approaches me, first words out of my mouth are going to be, "Hey, congrats on the Super Bowl." And it was incredibly effective and surprisingly disarming, except for because the other thing about my wife and I, my wife, when I met her, she was a club promoter. She likes going out. She still likes going out late and doing cool things. And I can all tag along if I have the stamina for it. So it's now late. We're at a dirty Philly bar, and this group kind of like moves towards me, and I'm like, ah, man. And I'm like, hey, congrats on the Super Bowl. And this woman, I don't know, I'd say late 20s, just starts mother effing me. Oh, that's not what you were effing saying before. Why don't you keep the Eagles out your effing mouth? All this, and I'm like, oh, this is a disaster because I like any guys, I can disarm it.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I was like, well, what this lady doesn't know is we're about 12 seconds away from my wife, who she has not clocked, is she thinks I'm alone. My wife is sitting right there
Oh boy.
and is staring through her. And I'm like, man, this is about to go left really quickly. And luckily, her male counterparts were embarrassed by her, and they kind of they kind of eschewed her away. But in general, Eagles fans have been fine. They won the Super Bowl. They should be happy. Like, whatever. Good for you guys. You won the Super Bowl, and with at least a slightly better quarterback than you did the last time. I kid. Jalen Hurts is obviously great. Nobody else could have won the Super Bowl with that team. Go ahead.
Pretty sure that was one of my cousins who accosted you.
Maybe it's on the board. On the board.
You've also landed on one of my theories, which is that there's nothing no more powerful force on earth than the female sports troll, because it's genuinely so shocking that you don't know what to do when you encounter one. We got to keep this moving. That's a whole
Yeah,
separate
sorry.
conversation.
Sorry.
I almost respect it when I encounter it.
Yeah.
Okay, Chiefs are still on the board. We're gonna go Chiefs Ravens here.
Chiefs. Okay. And at some point, I know that the modern sports media is in a post-results era where, I mean, wins and success and actually accomplishing things is so passe and overrated. And have you seen the Week 12 Ravens DVOA the last couple of years? Hang the banner. But at some point, the Baltimore Ravens have to accomplish something. And at some point, someone's got to explain to me why I am supposed to think of the Ravens as a great team. Tell me, because they have a great running back and they have an amazing quarterback up until the games matter. The number 31 pass defense, the 25th best receiving core in football, a rookie kicker. Like, every year I'm beat over the head with this Ravens propaganda. And then there's a brief moment when they fall on their face in the playoffs when everyone afterwards, like, we're not going to make that mistake again. And then 2 months later, it's like, I think they're going to do it this year. Why? Just somebody tell me why.
The defense, I believe, is better than the Chiefs' defense. And
they were 31 against the pass last year.
In the second half of the season, after they changed up the safety pairing, they were first in EPA per play, first in success rate, first in points per game. The crazy stat, by the way, which I think, to your point, Aaron Schatz mentioned this we talked about the AFC East. So you mentioned DVOA. The two best 5-year runs in the history of the metric by teams without a Super Bowl appearance, the Baltimore Ravens the last 5 years and the Buffalo Bills the last
Mhm.
5 years. These 2 teams have the incredible misfortune of playing in the Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid era. But isn't that
So,
amazing
he
when you think about
so
it?
here's the thing. It is amazing for Buffalo. It is not amazing for Baltimore, which has only lost to Pat. But
Oh,
if
because they
Pat,
have a Super Bowl, you mean?
no, 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 no. What I'm saying is Baltimore. You can't say the Chiefs have blocked Baltimore over the last 5 years. They beat them once.
Oh, I
Baltimore,
see what you're
like,
saying. Yeah,
so. I'm saying like
because they
it
lost
is
to the Bills.
fair to say that
Yeah,
the Bills maybe are a,
I hear you.
if Patrick Mahomes played baseball, but for the Ravens, I don't get it. So, but go ahead.
No, no,
We can tell us
that's a
next.
valid point. Well, we're gonna put those 2 teams head to head. Ravens, Bills. Who is the
Bills.
better team?
The
The
Bills.
Bills. Ooh, I
Yeah.
don't know. This anti-Raven stance that
It's
you're
not
taking here,
anti-Ravens. It's pro-history. Like, I don't know
not
the
gonna let's put a pin in this
how
one
many
and where it
years
goes
in a
over there.
row does a team need to play its worst game of the year and have its best player play his worst game of the year in the biggest spot before
Wasn't his first
we
game of the
care
year.
about it?
It wasn't his first game of the he was not bad, in the playoffs.
Mina, hold on, hold on.
Okay, well,
Can we
let's talk about the Bills. Let's talk about the Bills
Yeah.
because I have been guilty of overlooking teams in some of these conversations.
Mhm.
Do you believe that this team got better this offseason? Like, are you a Bills believe? Because again, the
Oh,
Chiefs are their big
oh,
bad.
I listen. I think the Bills were good enough to win a Super Bowl last year. Now maybe nobody was going to beat Philly with the way they were rolling at the
Yeah.
end. I don't know. It's really weird because it felt like the Rams were going to beat Philly, and then once they got through that, the Philly just seemed unstoppable. Um, I think my concern for Buffalo this year is the same concern I have almost every year, which is Chiefs independent, which is the do they have a regular season only defense? Are they
Mm,
going to have a
yeah.
defense that every year puts up kind of the opposite of what the Spags Chiefs defenses were early, where it was they're bad in the regular season, but they can, or the opposite of Lou Anarumo Bengals heyday defense, because every year they're in the playoffs and the other team's hanging 28, 29, 32. That concerns me. I also don't love the receiving core, but they last year they had the best offensive line in the AFC. Josh Allen is, in my opinion, clearly the second best quarterback in football, and he's been great the last couple years. And so he
Really?
what well who's the other candidate?
Lamar Jackson?
I
Lamar Jackson.
we can finish on the Bills. I do think we should talk a little more on the Ravens, but I think Buffalo is, and at some point the Bills will beat the Chiefs, like in the
Yeah.
playoffs. Mahomes isn't going to go 8-0 in the playoffs against Josh. He's halfway there, but
Mhm.
he's not going to get to 8. And the can I ask you a silly question, but I think it's a
Hit me.
fun thought exercise? What would be more painful for Bills fans this year? If this is the result, losing to Mahomes again in the conference championship game, or finally beating him and then losing the Super Bowl?
Losing to Mahomes again in the conference championship game.
Really?
Is crazy. Like, that's
Well,
just
that'd be 5-0. But yeah, but
totally ridiculous. Yeah.
but you don't see. I don't know. I feel like there would be an element of we finally did it, and then if you lose the Super Bowl, I think whenever they beat Mahomes, which will happen at some point, you got to cash it in. And listen, they could do it in a year. They could have, in theory, done it last year.
I think it depends how you lose in the Super Bowl. Like, one of the I wouldn't say upsides, but the thing about the way the Chiefs lost to the Eagles, it was so obvious what happened that I don't think Chiefs fans were torturing themselves afterwards. It wasn't like, Super Bowl 49 for me. Like, you got your kicked in the line of
Oh, that's
scrimmage,
totally true.
so you focused on
It's
that in
not
the
you don't
offseason.
it's not like, and it's also not the cruel if one play. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? And I'm not trying to, salt is too soon on the Super Bowl for you, but you know what I mean, where it's like one moment, it's like no, you just got
yeah.
annihilated start to
You just got
finish.
and you gave you a clear mandate for what to do this offseason.
Yes.
Ravens, Lions for the 4th overall spot.
Wi-
Bro,
So I wouldn't have either one of these teams fourth
okay.
because I'm worried about the Lions' loss of coordinators and the interior of their offensive line. but I will. So because of that, I will go Ravens. But can we talk now about the
Yeah.
Ravens for a
Yeah,
minute?
yeah, and how you're apparently a Ravens hater, which I didn't know.
I don't know. I've just been the only person right about him the last couple of years. If that makes me a hater, then I guess it makes me a hater. It's so crazy how that ends up happening. Like the pessimist who ends up pessimism was correct is a hater, or were they just accurate? So you, so this was Lamar almost won another MVP last year, and part of it was, and it might have been deserving. He could have won it certainly.
I voted for him.
Weird first team all like the weird.
Yeah.
It's weird they split first team all pro and MVP, but whatever. And that would have been fine. But in the run up to that, one of the things that I saw all the time from Ravens Twitter was this dude had 4 picks, and if you watch them, 4 picks total the whole year. None of it, like they were all good, like none of them were his fault. And when you watch the video, it's like, it might actually be true. At least 3 of them, like one was off a guy's hands, one whatever.
Mhm.
And then in the first half of the playoff game, he has the 2 worst turnovers he had all year, including the worst turnover worthy throw or whatever you want to call it he had all year. And it dug them a hole that even though he was quite good in the second half, they weren't able to dig themselves out of. How can you say for a guy who you thought was the league's most valuable player that that was a good game by him? I don't understand it.
First of all, it's the league's most valuable player is a regular season award,
No,
so
but
I
I'm
don't
saying
know
you
how
hold him to a high standard. I'm saying
yeah.
it's not like the standard is this guy's a
He has not
legend.
been his best self in the playoffs, no doubt. I don't think Josh Allen played markedly better, frankly, in the game. Just and pardon me, in the postseason this year. Um, I think there's some nuance with one of those turnovers, but we don't have to litigate the entire thing. Um, I feel like we have enough of a body of work with Lamar Jackson at this point that I feel comfortable saying he is the second best quarterback or the third best quarterback in football. And with him and Josh Allen, I think you can kind of go back and forth, and it's very close to me. But to say that just because he played a bad half of football, you have to discount the body of work is just. I think
But
generally, I feel like we overweight. I know you're saying like postseason success matters when we talk about accomplishments and accolades, but when we're doing what we're doing here, which is who's the best team, who are the best players, I feel like you have to put it in context. Yeah, how are you
but
turning
isn't
my
but
power ranking show into a debate show? By the way, you're unbelievably powerful because
no, I'm not trying to, but I thought maybe I misunderstood it. Like we're kind of doing a version of like most likely to least likely to win the Super Bowl in some way, shape, or form. Like kind of that's what these things
well, no,
always
it's best
are.
team because it was most likely to win the Super Bowl. Like you'd be accounting for schedule more, I would say, and like who's in the
Yeah,
East
but
Division. Like are
I
the
mean, I
Bucks
don't
better
know.
than the Broncos?
So I don't mean to hijack it. I'm not trying to. I just think that your one way of looking at it is it's one bad half. Another way of looking at it is 6 plus year sample of this happening every single year at the end of the year. But then when we are handicapping how good that team is going to be, I am told, I guess, as to use your words, I'm a hater by saying, I think the thing that's happened every single year is going to happen again.
Okay, yeah.
That's all.
I have watched enough football over the course of my life to think how a player plays in the postseason is not predictive of the rest of his career. I think the better way to look at it, because I've just seen players who have been bad in the postseason who then went on improbable runs or were amazing. So I just think if I'm thinking about who this team is in 2025, and I think they have a stacked offense and a stacked defense, who the quarterback is, the fact that he has had a couple bad postseason performances does not give me pause. That's all. That's all.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, I don't know who you had above these teams. I am mystified, but we're gonna go Lions versus Texans.
Oh, Lions easily.
Okay.
Um, the Lions' concern to me is threefold and pretty obvious. But it's not so much so that you knock them down too far. I think every year, midway through the year, we find a team. We're like, man, what's happened to that team? And then someone's like, well, they did lose both coordinators, and then we're like, damn, should have thought about that. And then they did lose both coordinators, so I'm thinking that's a concern. Um, I think that Goff has proven he's excellent within this framework and can instantly go back to bad Jared Goff if the framework is a little off. And I think that losing Ragnow and Zeitler, and now all of a sudden the interior of his offensive line being really a question mark could spell real problems for him. And this is more of the ephemeral. I think back-to-back gut punch end of seasons
Yeah.
can have a real now they overcame it last year, and had an amazing regular season, which might make that postseason loss all the more painful. And so I don't so those are my concerns, but I still think the talent is and the defense should be healthier. That fifth best team works, given
Texas
those
defense
options.
is kind of one of the units that made Jared Goff look a little bit like
Yeah.
struggling Jared. You
Y-
remember that? But
Yep.
then the Texans also then imploded. It was a very bizarre
Yeah.
football game. Yeah, I've been struggling with where to rank the Texans because I think their defense is going to be incredible. But I still have questions about the offensive line. That said, they are now available to you against the LA Rams.
Rams.
Okay, so is that the team
And
that you were?
yes,
Okay,
that was the team that I would have had fourth. The
very high.
listen, I really like what the Rams did this offseason. I also think that their on the fly remaking of the defensive line, now it should pay even more dividends because you expect almost all those guys to be, at least as a collective, better because they were all such young players. I also think that, Stafford, there is an argument that Stafford is the fifth best quarterback in football. I think that fifth spot is, some would say Jaden, some would say Jalen, I think some would say Stafford, and Stafford probably is my pick there. I think Puka's awesome. I think Devontae in that role will be good. And so there's a lot of things I like about the Rams. Full disclosure, I thought the Rams were going to go to the Super Bowl last year. And
Wow.
I still think that they would have. I know would have is the wrong word, but had they finished that amazing comeback against Philly, I think they also would have beaten Washington, and then the Chiefs would have three-peated. But that's another story for another day. So I think the Rams are right there, and I
We're gonna
love
talk
McVay.
We're doing the Rams, NFC West this week. Definitely share a lot of your sentiments. A little concerned about the pass defense personally. But the thing with Stafford that makes those rankings, because this has been what we've been doing the last few weeks on television, right? Is quarterback rankings. He's so hard to rank because we know that at his best, he's a top 5 quarterback, but he was pretty inconsistent last year,
Yes.
right? So are you ranking like the potential of him or but it's tricky, and his age, it makes it a little hard.
No, so listen, he doesn't. I don't have the evidence to argue that he currently is a top 5 quarterback, except for if you were like, hey,
Yeah,
Mahomes is out for this playoff run. You can pick any quarterback you want for the rest of it. Josh Allen would be my first pick, and then I would think long and hard between Burrow and Stafford for my next pick. For the playoff run. And so and again, I think Lamar's third best quarterback in the league. So I'm not kicking Lamar out of the top 5 by any means. I think he's clearly top 3 guy. But I like Stafford that much. I
not enough
really,
time for
really
me
like
to
Stafford.
litigate that take. Okay, Texans versus.
I have a feeling I'm not going to like either of these teams. But go ahead. Maybe you'll surprise me.
I'm gonna go Commanders here.
Commanders.
Okay.
So the Commanders, the concern with the Commanders is very simple. They had so many unbelievable snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, or maybe I said that backwards.
You got
Last year, you worry that it's, I just know he hasn't written it yet, but when Barnwell writes his teams most likely to regress column,
yeah.
they're going to be on there. And I still don't know how good the defense is going to be. but I love the addition of Tunsil. I think McLaurin will end up getting paid. You know what I mean? I think that'll work itself out. And Jaden's really, really good. And so the Commanders are them versus the Texans. That's an easy one for me.
Texans versus Packers for 8. Gets tricky here.
Yeah. I'll go with some hesitation. I'll go Texans.
Okay.
I love the defense. I like CJ. I like the coach. I'm kind of, I'm very curious how that offensive line's going to look when that was what killed
Yeah.
them last year. And I know Tunsil got a million penalties, but that was a shock. Maybe you saw that move coming. I didn't see the Texans looking at last year and being like, well, the offensive line killed us. So objectively, our most talented offensive lineman, we're going to trade him away.
Yeah.
So that worries me, but I am also probably not as quite as high on Jordan Love as maybe some others. And Ty goes to me to the quarterback in this because I think both coaches are really good. And I think that I don't know if the Packers have a unit that I feel like is definitively elite. And I
Yeah.
think the Texans secondary is definitively elite.
And the pass rush. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Will
sure.
Anderson and I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
I shouldn't have said secondary.
The
Texans pass
pass
defense.
defense is
Yeah, as a
amazing.
whole.
I think
Yes.
that's a really fair way of looking at it because we talked about the Packers in the NFC North, and I'm higher on Jordan Love than you, but when I look at the roster, it's just a lot of really good, but, like, I'm like, "Who's great?" There's young players who could take the leap.
Correct.
I think the
Correct.
coach is great, but the Texans coach is really good too. Okay, so Packers for the 9 spot, we are going Packers versus
Wow. A
I'll
lot
throw
of
up
trepidation.
I know this is tricky. There's a team that I've been putting here, and I've gotten some grief because of one side of the ball, so I'm not gonna put them. You probably can guess who that is. Let's
Mhm.
go Packers versus Bucks. This is the highest I've offered anyone the
Bucks.
Bucks. Okay.
Bucks.
Wow. All right. So you're high on the
I
Bucks.
yeah, I heard I vehemently disagreed with what Bomani said about Baker.
Oh, okay. Get it. Look.
Um, I mean, the Bomani was like, Baker's a starting quarterback, not a franchise quarterback. Baker Mayfield was top 5 in the league last year in yards, touchdowns, completion percentage. Like, he had a monster personal year. Now, I don't think he's top 5 quarterback, but I think he is firmly in the top 10. I also, even with Godwin, we don't know his full status. I really like their receiving core, and they addressed it even further in the draft. I think there is real reason to be concerned about the defense, but I also have, like, I guess maybe I have a hard time divorcing in my brain how I think these teams are going to do with maybe the exact conceit of your exercise, because I hear myself in my head working in, and I think they're going to have a home playoff game because they're going to
Yeah.
win the division. You know what I mean? Which I know is not really
Yeah.
what you're going
Yeah.
for. But I think that I think the Bucks are, if the Eagles stumble, which, by the way, like, this century, defending champs that didn't have Mahomes or Brady as their quarterback, there's 15 of them. 7 missed the playoffs, only 3 won a playoff game, and only your Seahawks made the Super Bowl. So if the Eagles, and I'm not saying I think they will, I call them the best team in the league, but if the Eagles trip up the way a lot of Super Bowl champs have, I think the Bucks are in the mix to be in the conference championship game and then see. Like, I think Baker has established himself as that
Yeah.
level of player, and I like Bowles. I know nobody else likes Bowles, but I like Bowles.
The Bucks have, I think, one of the when I look at, like, can this team do it again? Can they have sustained success in offense? They have a dominant offensive line, and that just makes you I always feel good about picking a team with a
So,
dominant offensive
like, this is I'll show my own ignorance here.
Yeah.
They have a dominant offensive line.
Oh, okay, so there was a question about Tristan Wirfs, left tackle, some injuries
Yeah,
there. That gives me pause, but boy, I'll tell you, watching the Bucks run game over the summer, I was astounded. They were moving people. I
Okay.
think they've drafted really well on the inside. The Gadecki move to right tackles move worked as well.
Jason
Like,
Light's good.
he's really good.
He's
He is
good. Like, he deserves credit. He's good. They've done a really good
center they
job, like
drafted was awesome.
yeah.
Like, they're just yeah, they're really good
Seems like
draft.
they've just had trouble drafting edge rusher.
That is the problem. That is
Y
the weakness of they have
and
a
they've
Hassan
spent a
Reddick.
lot of resources on it.
I know
Like,
they've
just
tried and they just haven't hit.
they
Yeah, they
keep
haven't
trying, but
hit.
alright,
Since
go
that
ahead.
Super Bowl run with Brady back when they
Yeah.
had Shaq Barrett and JPP. Okay, Packers are the dropper. Packers fans are sitting in the draft room right now cursing Nick Wright's name. We're gonna for the 10 spot, we're gonna go Packers versus Bengals.
Uh,
The
I'll go
Bengals
with
are
the
so tough,
Packers.
man. The Bengals are so tough.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go with the Packers. I think when I do my, playoff picks, I think I'll probably have both those teams not in. But
Really?
yeah, I don't think that's that. I mean, the Packers to me last year were a good team, but not a great team. And we'll get to the Bengals when we get to the Bengals. I Once upon a time I had a take that was if in the modern NFL, would you rather have a roster full of B minus B players with no A pluses because of the salary structure and all that? And the Packers are really trying out that take. They're like, what if everyone on the team's just solid and no
Have you
one's
seen
all
have you seen the video of, the comedian making fun of Elon Musk and Doge, where he calls them his army of twos?
No, I have not.
Oh, I started to use that
But
phrase to talk about the Packers receivers, just Jordan
oh,
Love's
Army
army
of
of
Twos?
twos. Anyways,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
and
it's tough, it's tough,
and
and
so
they're all
again,
really good.
I don't
Yeah,
wanna be dismissive because there is something to be said to just be solid everywhere.
yeah.
But, like, aside from McKinney, who's the difference like, the, like, stud on the roster? Am
I
I
like
forgetting
Adrian Cooper
someone?
a lot. He's a rookie. I think
Oh,
he's a really good, like but he's a rookie. He's a second-year player now. Yeah, no, the Packers are really good except for at the most important positions outside of quarterback, which is, like, receiver and edge,
yeah.
and corner
A
too.
and is it fair to say that Love is
I like him.
I
I'm a fan.
is it I was gonna say, is it fair to say he's a question mark going into this
No,
year?
I don't think so. I don't think
You don't
he's
okay.
that's not my issue with this roster. It's receiver and corner. Okay. So the Bengals, we'll get to them when we get to them. They
Yeah.
are truly the conundrum of this, in my opinion. I'm gonna put the Bengals up against another AFC team. We're getting for the 11. We're outside the top 10. We're gonna go Bengals versus Broncos here.
I knew you were gonna say the Broncos. I will go with the Bengals. Um, I just think no one has explained to me why the Bengals are not going to have the exact same year they had last year. Why would anything be different? The offense is going to be awesome. The defense is going to be terrible, and they'll win, a minimum of 8, a maximum of 10, and we'll see if they sneak into the playoffs. Like that, who's the edge? The older Hubbard. They lost him. And he wasn't that good, but he was still one of their starting edges. Hendrickson is in Florida. They draft Shamar. Shamar's at Texas. And so it's like, but
Yeah, that's not great.
now Jamar and T make more money. Well, then so what? I don't it is almost impossible for Burrow to be better than he was last year. So so I just to me they are staring at a very very similar year. Awesome offense, terrible defense, and not good enough. And so I know that's weird for me to be putting them where they are, but that's more about uh Broncos skepticism that I guess we'll get to. And I promise I do think some teams are really good. We just haven't or good, but we just haven't gotten to some of them. But that's where I stand on the Bengals. Like, I know they changed D coordinators, but I don't know that that's an upgrade.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I don't disagree with anything you said. I just wonder who you think is really good that we haven't gotten to. Maybe it's the
Really
Chargers.
good is probably too
Who's
strong,
good? Good,
but
good.
good.
Pr
Um,
We're going Chargers versus Broncos here, AFC West
Chargers.
showdown. Okay, so that's a team you would have had higher. I take it.
Uh,
Little bit higher.
hold on. Let me let me glance real quick and see. There was one team you haven't mentioned. I thought
Now
that I
I'm
like.
wondering who it is.
No, it's the Chargers.
Okay.
And there, I mean, there's a couple other teams I think are going to make the playoffs that you haven't mentioned, but
Oh,
that's
we're
obvious.
still in playoffs
Yeah,
then.
we still got plenty of time. Um, so uh, listen, I love the coach. Uh, they had the number one scoring defense in football last year. Herbert's good. I know he's probably another guy who I actually didn't watch the film right. He played awesome in that playoff game. I just don't
He was
understand.
not good in the playoff game.
Um,
I will say that. He was not good in the playoff.
and so
Black.
again, listen again. The year 6 will be the year Justin Herbert wins a big game. I know it. But I like Harbaugh a ton. I still think they have thrown a lot of resources at receiver, and it has. I like Ladd. I think McConkey's good. I don't think it's obvious he's good. And yeah, I think the Chargers. I expect them to actually be somewhat similar to last year in that I think Herbert will be a little more prolific as a passer. I think the defense won't be quite as
Yeah.
statistically dominant. And I think they'll be, a solid wild card team. And so yeah, I think Chargers fit there.
The Broncos have dropped a couple spots. Will their drop continue? I am going to put them up against the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh. Oh, now you're
Forcing the issue.
forcing my hand here.
2 teams you're not
Um
it sounds like you're not high on either of these teams is the
No, I
vibe I'm
don't. The Broncos thing is mystifying to me, but I think the
amazing
Cowboys have
defense. Broncos, incredible D.
the no doubt about it. There is no doubt about it.
That should be mystifying.
The well,
Defense plays
I
too.
no, I understand that. I also think if I may, I think that the defense, is it fair to say I'm a little curious if the defense this year against a slightly different opposing quarterback lineup than they had last year, when after beating Baker Mayfield, the quarterbacks they beat
Yeah.
were Rodgers, Gardner, who was playing for the Saints at that point, Rattler,
Yeah.
Bryce, Kirk Cousins in his last game,
Bryce is kinda
Gardner again, whoever the hell was starting for Cleveland. Uh,
regression is definitely possible. They also had a lot of turnovers, which is never good. However, I do like the pieces that they added up the spine at
yeah,
linebacker and safety, so
if they play, I like Greenlaw and I like
wait,
Hufanga.
sorry, are you taking the Broncos instead of the Cowboys?
Taking the Broncos.
Okay, just
Yeah, sorry.
no, it's okay.
Um,
Are
but
you
I
a,
am
not a Bo lever?
no. I mean, I think coming into last year, I said the quarterback he reminds me the most of the last few years' drafts is Mac Jones. And then he has a year where the team makes the playoffs and everyone's like, you son of a, you didn't believe in our guy. And I'm like, I
That's what
kind of
Mac Jo
still think the
Mac
same
Jones
thing.
did.
Mac
Right.
Jones did that. And I saw, what was it? That maybe it was you guys. I saw they had the 6th best roster according to something we talked about on the show this week. I think it was ESPN's.
Good roster.
Um,
Offensive line is incredible.
I I do not think the Broncos will. I mean, how about this? I think the AFC West is going to have 3 playoff teams again, and the Broncos are not going to be one of them.
Wow. Okay, I'm excited to talk about that team with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be I'm not gonna bring them up
Yeah,
here.
you
This is
can't bring them
early.
up. I know it throws off your whole thing.
It also just I don't know if I agree because of one side of the ball, but we'll get there. Okay, we still got the Cowboys. We're almost at the end of the first half. I'm gonna go Cowboys versus Niners.
Niners. Um, I the best thing they then I shouldn't it's not the best thing they have going for them. But the biggest addition this offseason to me is very clearly Salah. And I think
Slept on.
he's going to have to he has the most work he's ever had cut out for him with the Niners, with this team, because this is the least talent on defense he's ever coached since he's, from when he's been with the Niners and maybe with the Jets too. Now that I think about it, the Jets had a lot of talent on defense. Bosa's obviously awesome. Fred Warner's obviously awesome. And then it's a bunch of massive question marks. I also, I, you know, I am not as high on Purdy as some, and I certainly think that last year was not nothing when those of us that were Purdy skeptics were like, I just wonder what he would look like if he didn't have the most talent in the league around him. And then last year the talent was hurt and he didn't look anything close to the same. And I don't know, like the receiving core is not going to be as good as it should be, better than last year, kind of, but I don't know when Ayuk will be back. And Juwan Jennings is a good number 3, but past that, I'm not sure. And Pearsall's an idea. He showed flashes at the end of the year. And then Christian McCaffrey is a huge question mark. If he's awesome, if he's healthy, he's awesome. And if he's, which means if he's healthy, he's the engine that runs the offense. And I think this is less raw talent than they've had in San Francisco on both sides of the ball in, I don't know, 6 years. Like, is that fair to you?
They got to hit on some of those picks, man. Like,
Yeah.
I think now is where you're seeing the Trey Lance trade actually affect the team. For years, it was like, it's fine, whatever. Who cares that they, traded away all of those picks? Yeah. But now, because you had talent walk out the door because they had to pay Purdy and other players, you need some of those rookies to play really well. But the health thing is, they're not. Last year they were the most injured team in football. So the Cowboys now are still available to you at 15. We're going to wrap up here. I am going to go Cowboys versus Steelers.
There was a team I was hoping you were going to say, but I won't say it because it would spoil the exercise. I'll go with a very light shrug, the Steelers. I did not understand the Ramsey for Minka trade. I don't
think it's a football trade. I think it's both teams just being like, I don't want to deal with this guy.
Okay. All right. Then
I think that's the biggest motivating factor on both sides.
Okay, just because I think Minka's better than Jalen at this point. Listen, I think that any real deep playoff run aspirations are foolish. However, they have acquired a fair amount of talent this offseason. Maybe they got better at quarterback. I don't know if they did, but the defense should be excellent. Tomlin's excellent. And I don't look at the Steelers as having gaping holes the way I do the Cowboys. You know what I mean? To me, they're just fine. And so that's a good place for them. There's a couple teams. Let me see. Hold on. I'm not going to say who they are, and I know you're going to break. But one in particular, there's 1.5 teams, 1 3/4 teams that I think could be legit good that we haven't mentioned.
All right, when we come back, let's see if I can guess who those teams are. All right, we're back. Second half of the Power Hour with Nick Wright. Cowboys fell, so they're available to you at 16. I'm going to put them up against the Minnesota Vikings here.
Ooh, interesting. I'm going to go Vikings. This was not one of the teams I was thinking of. Obviously they have great coaching on both sides of the ball. They have a guy who's in the argument for the most impactful non-quarterback in the whole league. And
Andrew Baggio.
Oh, yes, there, Andrew. And you would think that getting Darisaw back, will instantly help JJ. I also am really, you know, interested to see how JJ looks. And I will, hand up, I didn't whenever someone like it felt like going into the draft when people talked about him, it was all stuff like when they were talking glowingly about him, it was all stuff like firm handshake, looks you in the eye type of stuff, and not like,
Mhm.
oh man, guy throws a hell of a spiral. And that always worries me. But they clearly, they actively moved off Darnold
Yeah.
to give him a shot, and you feel like Kevin O'Connell deserves the benefit of the doubt. And so Flores running the defense, O'Connell running the offense, Justin Jefferson, I think some nice pieces on defense, a healthier offensive line. That should be a dead average, what do we have in 16?
Yeah, we're
That's,
16.
and
Yeah,
if
I
I'm
mean, variance,
right,
right? This is the team where if JJ is any good, they're a playoff team, but, like, who knows? It's the great mystery of the 2024-25
correct,
season.
correct,
Um, I think this is the right spot for them. I was just looking at my JJ notes. I'll give you a few things that are a little more than handshake and meditation.
sure.
Really good throwing on the run, really good attacking the middle of the field, which are things I think that they're gonna lean into with him. He actually had the best QBR of any college quarterback that year of that loaded draft throwing on the run, so, I
I
think we're gonna
also
see
like this
a lot
is
of that.
might sound silly. I like that he's young. Like
He had a
the
kid recently though, which threw me.
Oh, well, that happens. But
No,
I
I
just
know.
mean like I like
It just drove
I
me,
just
man.
mean the if
Looks like a kid.
I like the if I'm gonna
Yeah.
bet on a guy, I like the guy who's 21 coming into the league and has a lot of room to grow.
Okay, Cowboys versus Bears.
There's the team, the Bears. Uh Now I did pick the Bears to make the Super Bowl last year. I understand that. And you know what? If that Hail Mary hadn't happened, who knows what would have happened? Butterfly flaps its wings. But uh the massive, undeniable upgrade at coach, offensive line, and maybe D coordinator as well, I think will be enough. I don't like Dennis Allen as a head coach. I
Oh,
think as
he's
a
an
D
amazing but we talked
right.
about this. That was to me one of the sneaky best hires of the entire offseason,
Oh,
bringing
okay.
him
The
back.
way you looked, I thought you were disagreeing. I was like, well, I
No,
thought
no,
you
no,
were.
no, no, no,
Um,
that was a like a yeah.
yeah. So I worry a little bit about the defensive personnel. I don't
Uh,
worry about the offensive personnel. You'd like to see a little more from Roma Dunze in year two, but some of that's going to be on Caleb. And Caleb was such a sensational college player, like a truly one of a kind collegiate player every year of his career. Uh, from the first moment he walked onto the field, that I just can't believe he's not going to be awesome in the pros. I just can't believe it. And if he's awesome and they have a smart head coach with a creative offense and he actually learns how to watch film and gets that stuff and Dennis Allen coaches up the defense, I think that team 100% can make the playoffs. And if the Lions if what we were talking about with the Lions, which is those devastating losses were too much in the interior of the offensive line, I don't think it's off the board that they surprise you and win the division.
I'm gonna bring in it's the first time I brought them in this high, a spicy option, one that I think will intrigue you in particular. For the 18th spot, Cowboys versus Jaguars.
I knew you were going to say this. Yes, this was my half when I said I have 1 3/4 good teams. The one full was the Bears. This is actually my quarter. The Jags. So this is just a man. Come come on, Trevor. Come on, all your top 5 picks. You should be really good getting after the passer. You should be really good passing the ball. I have seen it from Trevor. Brian Thomas Jr. is awesome. I was surprised you and Bomani thought what they were doing with Travis Hunter was silly. Like
I
I
am
just
skeptical of the stated approach towards deploying him, but teams lie a lot, and I don't know exactly what it's gonna look like in the regular season. I do not think in the NFL he can play. I am very apprehensive of him playing as much on both sides of the ball as being advertised. We gotta see it
Uh,
though. I don't know.
yeah, I mean,
I love
the
him as a player, by the way, and a
yeah,
prospect.
to me there is like an Otani quality of like it seems insane until the guy does it, and then it's like, oh, maybe it's not insane for him. And so, listen, here's the I guess problem for the Jags. The like meat and potatoes things you typically need to be good at to be a good
Offensive
football team,
line,
I don't know that they're going to be good at.
corner.
Right. The can you stop the run? Can you protect the quarterback? Can you defend can you like I don't know. But this is, we are approaching make or break territory for Trevor. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is a stud. I think Travis is going to be awesome. And they seem just checked out on Liam Cohen. And I'm sorry, on Doug. And so I don't know if Liam will be good or not.
Very good play caller.
And it's just so weird to me, Mina. They win the division, they win a playoff game. The next year, they're 8-3 on Monday Night Football. If they win that game, they're the 1 seed.
Yeah, it was
And that's the
crazy.
game Trevor got hurt and they didn't have a cart. And since then, it's just been a
That was so weird. Yeah, you don't want to pin a lot of that on coaching malpractice or
that's how I
coaching.
feel, but maybe it's making an excuse for my guy.
The weirdest thing was just the defense was so bad, and it was just bizarre. And there's a lot of reasons. Well, I haven't done my AFC South preview. I have a lot of thoughts on that. But are you taking them over the Cowboys? Am I hearing this correctly?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm going to pick them to win that division.
Over the Texans?
Yeah, you can't have the same 4 teams win the division every year. It can't just be Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, Texans. It
All
can't
right, Cowboys versus Cardinals.
This is where the Cowboys slide ends.
Cowboys.
This is an unfair thing to do, but I'm curious your opinion. If Micah Parsons actually was like, screw you, I'm out of here. You're not paying me. Just say he's off the team. I know they're going to pay him. It actually has nothing to do with him. I just didn't want to say if he got hurt because I don't like. If you removed Micah from the Cowboys, is that the worst defense in the NFL?
Ooh, it's bad. They have a lot of injuries
on the list, right?
Yeah, corner, linebacker, nose tackle, all issues.
Yeah.
It's rough. And that's it. I mean, that's a major concern about this team. I just think they could have a top 10 offense this year. I really do.
So listen, the young guys on the right side of the offensive line have to play well. Dak will be fine. That it is even in the modern NFL, their total disregard of the running back position seems foolish. And I mean, I'd rather just draft a guy in the 5th round, a guy in the 6th round, than go Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders in 2025. But CD's awesome. Dak will put up numbers. I just think Schottenheimer to me is a total wild card. I don't trust the defense.
It's fair. Cardinals versus. I'm gonna mention the team here. Now I feel safe introducing this team. I thought it was too early early on. I'm gonna put the Raiders in here, who you alluded to.
Raiders are finishing 2nd in the AFC West, America.
Are you taking them over the Cardinals then?
Yes.
Make your case.
After
you just said the Cowboys.
They had a bottom 3 quarterback in the league. They now have a top 10 quarterback. They had a bottom 2 coach in the league.
You're pandering to this.
They now have a top 6 coach in the league. Like the top 8, whatever. I'm not trying to do a rankings thing, but they went from downright awful at the 2 most important spots to top 10 at the 2 most important spots. Brock Bowers is awesome. Ashton Genty could win the rushing title in year 1. Do they have a single receiver I love? Probably not. Do they have a similar Cowboys issue of outside of Max Crosby, what do we love on the defense? I get it. I understand that. But I think when Carroll was like, I win 10 games every year. Won 10 games for 20 years. I don't even think about not winning 10 games. I just love it. And I think they're going to sneak up on some people, and I think that they are a playoff team. I think the Raiders are a playoff team, and I think that Gino will be excellent, Bowers will be excellent, Ginty will be excellent, and Carroll will coach up the secondary.
I'm all in on the Raiders offense. The Raiders defense makes me very nervous, from a
No,
talent
that's
perspective,
fair.
not a coaching perspective. But we're in the range where no, all these teams
Yeah.
have major flaws. You know what I mean? Like, so it's
And one other thing, do
reasonable.
the Chargers or Broncos, who is going to play 4 of their games on, have the weapons on the outside to really punish the Raiders defense? You know what I mean? I don't. It feels like it would be a bigger problem if they were playing in the AFC
Yeah,
North
that's fair.
against some of those weapons. I don't know, but go ahead.
All right, let's go NFC West on NFC West here for the 21 spot. Cardinals versus Seahawks. They're very
Uh,
close, in my opinion.
yeah, I agree. I will begrudgingly go Seahawks. And when I say begrudgingly, I just thought the moving on from Geno to bring in Darnold was so insane to me. But the Seahawks by a hair would be my answer there. I know we have to go faster, or else it's
Seahawks
not an hour.
defense. Seahawks defense is good. It's okay if it's a little bit over, but the
Yeah.
Seahawks defense is going to be really good. I think if you look at those two teams, offense, defense, the Seahawks defense is the best unit. So I think that's a reasonable
Okay,
case.
yeah.
Okay, Cardinals versus Patriots.
Oh, I'll do the Patriots. Listen, I think the Patriots could legitimately have a very good defense. And I think they get half the upgrade I'm talking about, or maybe similar upgrade from the Raiders in just disastrous coaching situation to very good, and maybe a similar one at the quarterback just from Drake May in year one, like figuring it out on the fly to what he's doing now. My concern for the Patriots is very simple. I thought they could have used 5 new offensive linemen, and Will Campbell, is not going to play all the spots, and he's probably going to be playing a spot he shouldn't be playing because he probably should be playing guard, not left tackle. And I think they have a bottom 4 receiving core in the league. I don't think Diggs will be an impactful player, but I like the running back. I liked some of Drake May. Drake May's tough because I actually really like his athleticism and running, but I think he got multiple concussions last year. He definitely got at least one, so that worries you. But Vrabel's excellent. The defense they spent a ton of money on, and so yeah, they should be competitive. Vegas loves them.
That shocked. I think I was on SportsCenter and one of the hosts was like, "Did you know they're favored in every game?" And I was like, visibly shocked on air when I learned that
Yeah.
information. It made no sense to me. Wait, that can't be true.
No, they're no, no,
That
no. They're not
every
favored in every game, but their win total's like 8.5, and I think they're favored in like 11 games.
11 games, pardon me,
Yeah, yeah,
11.
yeah. Yeah,
Obviously
favored
not
in
the
every game. That'd be
Bills.
bananas.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah.
I think the Bills are actually favored in every game.
Yep,
Okay.
for sure.
Cardinals versus Falcons.
I'll go Cardinals just because I think the Cardinals I not that America spends a lot of time thinking about the Cardinals, but if they did, I think America's collective memory of the Cardinals last year is that they won 6 games and they actually won 8. Like, does that make sense? Like, I think the Cardinals,
That makes sense, yeah.
the
They were on top of the NFC West. People
yeah,
forget.
right. Going into their bye week, I think they were in first in the NFC West because they had the little winning streak in the middle of the year. I'm not a 17 game Kyler believer, but I am a 12 game Kyler believer. And what number did I give him?
We're 23.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where we're at. I am curious if Marvin Harrison takes a leap.
Same.
I would expect him to. I'm just going to admit my ignorance here, Mina. Is their defense going to be any good?
They're going to be better. They were really insane last year, like schematically, because they were so talent deficient. The defensive coordinator did all kinds of crazy stuff. They went out, they added Josh Sweat. They focus in the draft. They added Walter Nolan, Will Johnson. They added a couple veterans. So I think they're gonna be at least average. I think
Okay.
so. 23
Yeah,
is
and
more than
Gannon's good, like on the defensive side of the ball at least. Yep. Go ahead.
okay. So the Falcons are gonna go head to head versus the Dolphins here for 24.
So my answer is the Dolphins. I also think I wouldn't be shocked if the Dolphins won 10 games. I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked. The the top end like was last year from Tyreek a sign of age, or was it a sign of I hurt my wrist, I had off-field stuff going on, I kind of was over Tua, my heart was hurt that the team I left can't stop winning Super Bowls without me. I kind of like I don't know the answer to that. And I do like the Minka upgrade over Jalen Ramsey. I don't know how much else I like about their back seven other than Minka.
Concerning. It's
Right.
concerning. It's a concerning
And
group.
but I also feel like Mike McDaniel knows, like, even though he got that extension last year, like, could get late early here. So it would, who was you said Dolphins or who?
Falcons.
Yeah. So I would be shocked if the Falcons won 10 games. I wouldn't be shocked if the Dolphins got the final wild card spot in the AFC.
All right, let's stay in the NFC South. Falcons versus Panthers.
Falcons. Did you see today? Penix was like, spent all practice getting the ball to Kyle Pitts. Like,
No. Oh,
yeah,
God.
that's what he said. He's like, throwing the ball to Kyle Pitts a lot. Which is a bummer for me because one of my kind of Chiefs fantasies was that the Chiefs would trade a conditional 5th round pick for Kyle Pitts. Just like the ultimate buy low. I love Bijan. Drake London might have had like the quietest top 5 receiving yard
Such a
season
good
of any.
player.
Yeah.
So good.
And so the defense is probably going to be bad, right?
Yeah.
Like we just think the defense is going to be bad. And Penix is just a massive question mark. But they, those guys they spent those super high first round picks on offense. Bijan's an excellent player and Drake's a really, really good player. And so
the defense, at least they tried. They really went ham in the draft on pass rush. So if just one of those guys is decent, Jalen Walker, Pierce Jr.
Don't they have an insane stat? Like the last 10 sack guy they had,
John
like
Abraham or something.
Yeah, I think it is John Abraham. Yeah.
I mean, Jesse Bates is really good. Okay.
Yeah, Jesse Bates is also.
Panthers versus Titans.
Oh God.
I mean,
this could have been. I know, but this could have literally been last. This could have been the 31-32.
6 teams could be last.
No,
like when we get to these other teams, there's no one who you're going to be like,
right.
why didn't you have them higher?
No, you're right. I'll go Panthers. I would like I think the way people talked about Bryce last year was almost meaner than people being like, this guy sucks.
You heard the
I think
thing, you hear what Bo calls him?
What?
Little homie doing his best.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
said that like 3 years ago, and it stuck with me ever since. So whenever we talk about Bryce Young, we were like, little homie doing his
like
best.
if I were Bryce Young, I'd be like, I'm not like I was the #1 pick of the draft. You guys don't have to patronize to me like, oh, we're so happy for him. They talk about him like he's someone that overcame a catastrophic injury.
Too. We do
I
that
know,
on
it's
TV
like
all the time.
so
Just can't help but root for the kid. It's
yeah,
like,
exactly. It's like, wait, what?
But
they got outscored by 200 points last year. And I know that they were frisky at the end of the year. But I don't. He did. No, he did. He had a nice 4-game stretch at the end of the year. But and this is, I guess, confirmation bias for me. Just going into that draft, I have a tough one on my resume, I guess. In that going into that draft, I was like, I think CJ is, just going to be league average. And I think Bryce is way too small. And because of that, if I had the number one pick, I would take Anthony Richardson because he's
We have
so
not gotten to yet.
toolsy and whatever. And then it turns out Anthony Richardson is the least accurate player in NFL history.
Scouting quarterbacks is hard. The NFL is as bad at it as any of us. Okay. So the Panthers go off the board, which means the Titans remain. Are you getting seeing a lot of this? Nobody talks about the Titans and Cam Ward is, and I'm like, yeah, there's
Oh,
a reason why. You looked at the rest of the team. It's not
well,
the Cam Ward problem.
no, well, it's a little bit of a Cam. It's a Cam Ward problem in this regard. Cam Ward was not high profile or phenomenal enough college player to make his team a story by himself, the way like Joe Burrow kind of was. It's very hard to be that, by the way. But like Bryce Young won the Heisman, and nobody was talking about the Panthers the year they drafted him. So I don't think that's like a big knock on him. But yeah, this whole like Cam Ward's the least talked about number one pick. It's because there was no debate over who was going number one, and everyone thinks the team stinks.
I'd also like challenge most of football media to name 3 Titans on defense. I just or you know what I mean? Like it's
Sneed,
not you.
obviously. Chiefs great. No, I might be done.
Oh yeah. Okay, all right. So sorry, Titans. I will. By the way, Titans fans, if you're sitting at home seething, you know I like Ward. I've talked about him. I'm going to talk about your team in depth on the AFC South pod. So relax. Titans versus Giants. Wait, I feel like I'm. No, Titans. That's too soon for the Giants. Sorry, I left 2 teams out. Titans versus.
Can we do the other New York team?
Yeah, Jets. I actually have the Jets here. Titans versus Jets.
I think Jets. I just think here's what I like about the Jets. For the first time in honestly nearly a decade, that team gets to have a season where the story isn't their quarterback. And I think that'll be good for everyone involved. Where, you know what I mean? Because it had just been about this top pick quarterback they drafted and then Rodgers, whatever it is. And I think Aaron Glenn will be an upgrade. They obviously have some talent on the roster. Fields, his toe, God willing, they'll be fine. So, like, I think the Jets will be fine. I think they'll have a good defense, a below average offense, and win 7 games, which is probably higher than that part of the list.
The Jets actually have good players. It's not a good team, but there's good players on the team. They have
it's not well rounded, but it has oddly, if we were to combine. Where were the Packers on our list?
10.
And where are the Jets?
27.
And the best 6 players between the two rosters,
yeah,
5 of them are Jets.
It's funny, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
great, yeah. Like if you merge them, you would have a super team.
Oh, absolutely, because you'd get the stars from the Jets,
Wilson,
and
your wide receiver 1, Sauce Gardner on the outside, Quinnen Williams, a defensive tackle. It's such a funny. Okay. So the Jets go off the board at 27, which means we're going to go Titans versus Colts here.
Colts.
This might be too low for the Colts, to be honest.
It could. I mean, listen, it feels the Colts. Steichen is like very good at not being terrible. And that's they have had disastrous quarterback play in his tenure there. And they won 8 games. They won 9 games. And I don't think Daniel Jones is markedly worse than the quarterback play they have gotten the last couple years, right? Like, he can't be. Is it possible to be?
So is that a threat?
No, I mean, I don't know. And so, like, we have him 29.
Yeah.
Would it be shocking to you, or 28, sorry. I like Tyler Warren. And I like Travarius Ward, is probably their 2 biggest additions in the offseason. Would it be shocking to you if they once again, win 7-ish games? Like, that wouldn't be shocking to me.
I think they could finish a lot higher than this. I do. I think Lou Anarumo, Travarius Ward, Cam Bynum.
I forgot that's where Lou Anarumo went.
Yeah, I think the defense could actually be a lot better. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Titans versus Giants.
Giants, because I think it's on the board that they have the best D-line in the league.
100%. No
And
question.
that's and and then even if everything else is bad, if you just have the best defensive line in the league, that should win you a few games. I don't know why. Can I ask you a quick question? Why do you think they named Russ the starter immediately? I didn't understand it.
I think that Jackson Dart has a big adjustment to playing in the NFL, and they didn't want to put that pressure on him. I mean,
Okay.
offense he played in college is so radically different from NFL football. I
Just
think, yeah,
fake,
it's
fake offense.
it's a lot of fake offense in college.
Yeah.
So I think they just wanted to,
Okay.
and also if you looked at the schedule, I don't think they wanted to throw him to that early on.
Yeah, but I guess,
It
and
doesn't
maybe
get better. It's very
no, maybe
hard.
I'm an idiot for this. Like why sign Jameis if you're not going to let him
That's the
compete?
one I don't understand. I don't get
That's
that
what I
one.
mean.
Yeah,
Right,
I don't
but
know.
okay, all right.
Part of me
We
thinks
can
they
keep
might
going.
still trade him if somebody gets hurt, backup gets hurt,
Maybe.
I think, but yeah, that's the one that made no sense to me. Okay. By the way, long shot betting idea. Dexter Lawrence, DPOY. I was looking at DPOY odds. That's a long shot, but I kind of like it.
Oh,
Kind of like it.
okay, not bad.
Titans. Okay, so the final three teams have it's the final two. Actually, the Titans have fallen. They've been a little bit higher, but the last two teams have been the same. The Browns and the Saints. We're going
Yep.
Titans, Browns, Saints. I'm going to go Titans versus Browns here.
Titans. The final two are going to stay the final two. Just the Titans, like oddly, they acted last offseason like we're gonna be good. And then they got the number 1 pick of the draft. I know you love that they got Tyler Lockett, I'm sure. They did spend money on their offensive line this offseason. I don't know if it was good money, but it's at least in the short-term upgrades. I my guy L'Jarius Sneed, I don't know that he's going to be healthy for them. He's a good player, but that's probably a bad contract. And aside from Mina, aside from their D tackles, like where are they supposed to be good on defense? I don't know.
The Titans defense is Jeff Simmons. Yeah, I mean, aside from you said that, it's a tough situation.
Listen, you hope Cam Ward crushes, and you like Cam Ward.
I do, and I think the offensive line is going to be a lot better. I do. But yeah,
that's the tricky thing. Both of these things can be true. They overpaid for kind of aging offensive, like the contracts won't age great, but the offensive line, but this year it'll pay big dividends.
And that's important when you have a rookie quarterback.
Yes. 100%.
It's not about long-term team building. Okay, final two teams every time, Browns and the Saints. Who do you have as the 31st team? And then, of course, the worst team.
The Saints are the worst team. And listen, the Browns have Myles Garrett. That's fun. I just am waiting on behalf of myself, Bill Barnwell, you, and a bunch of others for long apology letters from fake Saints media that swore we all were wrong. No, you don't get the plan, guys. You don't understand. Sorry, other owners aren't as savvy as ours. We can if the salary cap's fake. Oh, really? Your team is ruined till 2030. And we all warned you about it.
Quick 2030. Because I do genuinely like Saints fans. At least
like their fans.
I feel like they finally ripped the Band-Aid. Now, because of all the disastrous decisions in recent years, it's going to take even a couple more years. But at least the hopium is no longer being inhaled there. But yeah, this is pretty comfortably the worst team. I mean, not pretty comfortably. I would say the Browns are close. But I'm rooting for Tyler Shuck. I interviewed him. He's great. I'm a fan.
Okay.
All right. So I want you to listen to this final 32. And I want you to tell me who you think should be higher. Listening to this list. Eagles, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Lions, Rams, Commanders, Texans, Bucks, Packers. That's your top 10. Bengals, Chargers, Broncos, Niners, Steelers, 16, Vikings, Bears, Jags, Cowboys, Raiders, Seahawks, Patriots, Cardinals, Dolphins, Falcons, Panthers, Jets, Colts, Giants, Titans, Browns, Saints. I'll hold it up for you to look at.
I want to flip the Raiders with the Broncos right now on my own list.
Woo!
That's what I want to do.
The Raiders at 13.
Yeah, listen, the Raiders are going to finish second in the AFC West.
That's a great thing.
I believe in Geno and Pete Carroll. And I'd say move the Bears up, but I've lost Bears equity by picking them to go to the Super Bowl last year, and they won 6 games.
That was tough. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first. Raiders in the playoffs. That's a good one. That was spicy. Nick Wright, who you can find everywhere. What's Right? First Things First are the main prop.
Yeah, those are the really. Yeah, you can also occasionally watch me play and broadcast poker. But yeah, if you're listening or watching this on YouTube, subscribe to What's Right with Nick Wright if you don't mind. And I hope to join you again, maybe around this time next year, when we can discuss how 2026 is going to be the year Lamar gets it done. See ya. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much. I will be back in a couple days to preview the NFC West with Jordan Rodriguez.
Wow!